for them to actually on, to have them to any shop for the implementation of this policy. So my expectation is for us to actually educate Nigerians that look, implementation of this policy is not going to affect them adversely. They're going to be safety net if you assure them that when the policy begins, by the grace of God, maybe January 2026, then they have something to fear about. There's no kind of policy apprehension that it should have assurance that this policy has come to see to actually better the welfare of the Nigerian citizens. So we have to showcase what is the safety net for the citizens when the policy begins in 2026. So that's my position. So if you take away the fear from the mind of Nigerians, because a lot of them are actually, I can tell some kind of fear that look, we don't know what's going to happen to our businesses, we don't know what's going to happen to our finances, we don't know what's going to happen to anything like doing and all that. A lot of them think that maybe have money in their account when these tax policies begin in 2026, everything there will just be wiped up and all that there's no. So we should try to educate Nigerians what is the safety and what is the protection for the Nigerian when the policy begins. Thank you so much.
All right, that's a good one. I think that's why this session is also timely. So because I see a lot of apprehension, a lot of people are making videos, even those that are in that are professionals and those that are not professionals, right? Different explanations everywhere. But for us at Distraction, we believe that we should be able to, in certain issues, especially in issues of tax, you should be able to consult, have that professional advice to say, okay, this is what you can do. These are the limits. These are things that are not applicable to you. These are things that are applicable. This is how you can structure your business so that you can take advantage of the incentives that the government has already provided, both for small businesses and larger organizations, as it were. So thank you, everyone, for joining the session. Thank you, Kenny and Shedrack, for your contributions. And I think we're diving right into the session. Earlier, we sent out a survey to us to try to understand some of the questions that you might have so that the facilitator can address those questions as it meets your specific business needs. Because what I might be worried about as an organization or as a business owner, even though they are general things, some specifics might be different. And we've have over 30 people respond to that. And we've also shared with the facilitator. We believe that this session would help us get the relevant
Yes, so like I was saying, doing it in accordance with the regulations of the organization, of the policies that the government is implementing. So one of the things that I believe and why we partner with Web Accounting is because they have the relevant, from a professional standpoint, they are a professional organization that has been doing this for over 6 years or 6 years plus. They're celebrating their 60th anniversary.
And we believe that partnering with them at this time for an organization that has that relevant experience, they have relevant exposure, they have a team behind the organization. Either you're looking for accounting and bookkeeping services, or you want to deal proper with tax-related services, they have the core competence to be able to do that. And at the head of that organization is Madam Agbeke. We are happy to have her in this session. Without further ado, I will turn off the mic to her so that she can take us further with the sessions. My big auntie, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Mr. Precious. I want to say a very good afternoon to all those joining. I heard someone join from Abuja and Kaduna or Kano. This is super amazing. This is a great thing you're doing, this traction, and we're happy to work with you as well. Without further ado, I'm going to upload my slides now so we can get into it. Please give me a moment. Let me know once you can see my slides.
Yes, yes, we can.
All right. Okay, so good morning again. My name is Agbeke and I'm from Wells Accounting and Tax Services. Today we'll be talking about the new tax reforms, the new buzz in Nigeria that everybody is talking about. I'd like you to fasten your seatbelts, have your notes beside you, be open-minded and be very willing to understand and transform as Nigeria is transforming. Today, I have my agenda shown on the screen. We're going to take you through the key changes in the different areas of the taxes, from personal income tax to value-added tax, corporate tax, and how the taxes are harmonizing. We'll talk about the informal sector or those doing remote work. We'll also talk about the possibilities of double taxation and then have practical recommendations. So let's dive in. This is the first time in a long time, or the first big time, Nigeria has done something this ambitious. We have an overhaul of our tax system since our independence. A new tax law, which we're discussing today, was signed into law on the 26th of July, just a couple of months ago, this year, 2025, which will become effective on the 1st of January, 2026. So as you're planning your dirty December and you're wanting to do very amazing things, please bear in mind that on the 1st of January, we're having exciting things happening in Nigeria. So please plan well, well. All right, so the focus of this is clarity and simplicity, to have fairness, and the whole system is going to be very technology driven. So the laws that have come into play now are the Nigerian Tax Act, which is trying to unify all the taxes together. Then there's also the Nigerian Tax Administration Act, which is telling you who you're to pay your taxes to, I beg your pardon. And then we have the FRS, which we used to know, that is now called Nigeria's Revenue Services. They are also going to be, this name has actually been in place since middle of this year, so it's not happening next year. This has come to start now already. And we have the Joint Revenue Board, which will be where a lot of individuals would work with, as well as where the ombudsman would reside. I'll speak more on what ombudsman means as we move on. So what's the goal? What is the goal of this new tax? The goal is to reduce the tax burden. You know, Nigeria has multiple burdens of taxes from federal lists. We have those for the state. We have local taxes. As soon as you commence a business, there's 1,000,001 taxes that you need to pay. A lot you're not even aware of. You've not started making any money, and there's enough tax that you paid. So because of this, the new law is trying to harmonize all these taxes so that we have all the taxes talking to each other, like sense check them and put them all together. Another goal is to encourage compliance. So by encouraging compliance, they've introduced incentives. If you're in the agricultural sector, you have about 5 years of no tax if you're just registering. We have educational sectors that have no taxes too, and the health sector, which actually has been in place before, but now zero VAT. We have the small and micro businesses too, who have no taxes. And then the thresholds for PIT, or personal income tax, and CAT too have been adjusted. So those are the things the government is doing to encourage companies to pay. the taxes. And then there's also the bit of support. In terms of support, they're giving us the ability to comply. They're digitalizing a lot of things. So you'd have been hearing a word about e-invoicing, the onus on us to self-police ourselves, to put all our invoices on the portals as we're doing business, that it is easy for you, yourself, and the tax official to do their job and to come to a unified agreement without having any confusion or any reason to have doubts of the work or the revenue you have. Fiscalization and ombudsman. So we will get to the ombudsman. So the key changes, the key changes at a glance. We have broader exemptions for the low income earners. So everybody under 800,000 naira per annum, and small businesses would not be paying taxes, or should we say they pay taxes at zero. So if you're paying taxes at 0%, you're safe to say that, you know, there's no taxes for anybody in that category. Previously, that wasn't so. Everybody had to pay taxes except for those under 300. So that band has been increased. And then we also have the company's income taxes. Before, if you were a small business, you were 25 million and below. From 1st of January next year, that would be increased to 100 million. So this is also encouraging businesses to do well, to increase, to do better, and still pay lower taxes if they were in that 25% threshold. So the way this tax is in Nigeria, it's progressive, meaning the more you earn, the more you pay. So as soon as you cross over the 100 million threshold, you will be paying taxes. So we also have capital gains. So no capital gains will be paid on stocks or approved assets. That is also in the new law. We have streamlined incentives depending on the sector you're in. Like I said earlier, the taxes have been harmonized and there's a reduced burden on the taxpayers. So now let's start from personal income taxes. We said tax-free. So before the threshold was 300, now we've moved to 800,000. From 800 per annum and below, you don't pay taxes. The middle income earners are those, I guess, above 800 really, and below 25 million per annum. And those would effectively have lower taxes than they were paying before, but not totally nil taxes. So they would enjoy some form of tax relief than others. And those who earn above 50 million a year will now be paying the taxes at about 25 million, which is slightly higher than the previous rates. So we'll go into all the rates that were before, compare before and after with a couple of scenarios so you can see what we're talking about. The new system reflects a progressive regime, like I said, so the more you earn, the more you pay. And it tends to put a balance in things so that it's fair, so everybody is paid fairly and paying taxes also fairly. The aim is to reduce poverty, like government has been saying, encourage compliance, and stimulate spending. And I did say something about the Office of the Ombudsman that I said I'll come to. It's a big word, and I've been hearing people say ombuds because they don't want to say man or woman. So the Office of the Ombud is supposed to regulate and be like the mediator between the tax officer or official and the individual or the company, hearing out cases, trying to see a middle fair playing ground, and making sure that there is resolution to issues and disputes when they do arise. So that office is Ombuds Office, and it's now in play. So the previous taxes and the tax rates is shown on the screen now, as well as the new rates. We still have 6 bands, and the first band before is on the left side and the new band is on the right side. And what it's saying is the first band was anybody earning between 0 to 300 had to pay 7%. So technically nothing was removed, but now everything up until your 800,000 is exempt from tax. And that's why we said earlier that if you earn 800 or less, you won't pay taxes. And please remember that these figures are per annum. And then it goes to the next band. So on the old side, let me go through that first. The first 300 at 7%, the next 300 at 11%, the next 500,000 after that is 15%, the next 500 after that at 19%, next 1.6 million at 21%, and the everything above 33.2 million is at 24%. So those percentages have changed. The values also in Naira have changed in the new regime, which is on the flip side. So you have 800 at 0, 2.2 at 15, 9 million at 18, 13 million at 21, 25 million at 23, and anything above 50 million at 25%. So you don't have to write this down. All of this will be shared through Bistraction, but it's just to give you an idea of what it is that we are talking about, so no one is misinformed. And we're still working with 6 bands. The difference is before the lowest band was 7, now it's 0. The highest band was 24, now it's 25. So let's go into some scenarios. Let's assume we have a staff that earns 300 gross per month, right? So that's 300 gross per month. That's 36 million per annum. I won't go too deep into the math that's happening on the screen now, but if you go to the bottom of the screen,
Hello, can we hear her? Chat. So let's just give her a few minutes so she can reconnect or switch to a new device. So she will join us. Yes, she is off. Shadrach, I can see that she's off, but she's trying to reconnect. Any moment from now, she would join up. She will join back in. So, but so far, we've been. Yes, Manuel, yes. Network is disconnected, but she's trying to get another network up at the moment. Yeah, so let's just give her a couple of minutes to do that, and she can join back up. So just on the lighter side, it looks like we are having a band across different industries. So like in electricity, we have band A, band B. Now in tax, we're also having different bands. So I don't know, those that will be in band A, probably those are the ones that will pay 50 million. Those that are earning 50 million and above, from what she just described, like those people will be paying up to a higher percentage of their revenue will be going to, or their income will be going for tax. So which band are you? So let me see in the chats. If you are in band A, you can type band A just on the lighter side before she joins us. I know Shadrach will be in band A. Is that true, Shadrach? Band Z, it's okay. No. After this session, you come to band B or band A. Can I get somebody else? Which band are you? You never enter any band somewhere. That's hilarious. Don't worry, you enter band A straight. You jump the queue and enter band A. Right. Okay. Band PIT, yeah, personal income tax. That's a good one, Habib. That's a good one. Yeah, so band personal income tax. So band business owners. That's interesting. Uh, so, but in personal income tax, are you in the band A? So band A is anything above 800. Then band Z, like Tokyo, is anything below 800. Nobody has your time yet until you cross 800. Wow. Abi, we are in band A in PIT. I see why you named this session. So when Madam comes back, she'll be able to explain to you how you can structure your own taxes so that the deductibles that you are allowed. So because you have certain deductibles like house rent that you can deduct from your income, then pay tax on the remainder of your income. What laws will be applied 2025 filing? What will happen in January, March? Will it be PATA or new NTA? Yeah, in Bantinibu, I'm not there with you though. I'm not there with you. Oh, Benjamin yet to identify his bands. Jacob. All right, Shedrack wants to make a comment. I would allow him. And so Shedrack, you can unmute yourself and make a comment.
I thank you so much for the opportunity. I just
No
want us
problem.
to get on the how this tax is being paid. Because there's a process of paying the tax. A lot of people have the impression that immediately you have inflow in your bank account, they just deduct the tax payable.
The money.
So I think that you understand that there's difference between income and inflow. So let's also understand how is the tax being deducted or being paid? Is it automatically? Do we need to file tax return? So if you fail to pay, what is the consequence of such? So we should try to align ourselves with that. Thank you so much.
No problem. No problem. She would do justice to that. And the interesting thing is that even after the sessions, all the questions that would ask, we would also liaise with them to provide answers to all the questions, and we'll share with all registered participants so that you can fully understand. Because one of the reasons we even decided to put on this session is because there are some certain videos I watch on Instagram and TikTok, and you can see that what they are saying is outrageous from what they are putting out there. The information they are putting out there looks very outrageous. I would say, no. Can we get the professionals who understand the industry, who has been doing this for over 6 years? They understand left, right, center about what it is, and then they can now be able to shed proper light on it to actually help us fully understand what it is. And that's why this session it's on. They are going to come back up. I saw her pop in now. Let me see if I can see if she's on. Yes, she's on. Hello, madam. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Welcome
Apologize.
back.
I was only to hear that I was not audible. I'm not sure where you heard me up to, but I'm so sorry about the technology glitch. I'll just carry on sharing. If you can tell me what slide I was on, that would be helpful before I got disconnected.
When you were talking about the different bands.
Okay, the scenarios. All right.
Did you get that?
So I'm sharing the screen again.
Yes,
I apologize for
right.
the. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, and the screen is showing now. So,
yes, we can see your screen.
okay, so just before, I think I was on the 3 million salary per annum, per month. So anyone getting 3 million now would be taking home 2.4 million, while in January it would be 2,408. And that is showing a difference of about 36,000 per month. Because these are now high net worth sum of individuals, the taxes have been increased. It's still moderate in terms of global comparison. It promotes fairness. Middle income earners are also going to pay more, and employers should consider a compensation plan that is favorable to ensure that all the taxes are not going on just the cash, so that they have some things that also make the compensation desirable. The last comparison scenario is so we've had the 300, we've had the 800, and we've had the 3 million, seeing that the 3 million are high net worth individuals. So we now look at the comparison of the three scenarios. In the first one, we see that at 800, at 300, the employee seems to take home more than this year. In the second scenario, it's the same thing. And in the final scenario, they seem to take home less. Effectively, there is a higher tax in that high band, while the first low bands of the lower and the middle in tax earners are having savings. So in theory, that means, in summary, that means the percentages of 0% applied to everybody under 800 or less per annum, which is usually entry level and junior workers. The middle income earners also benefit from lower taxes, while the higher income earners would have to suffer a bit more tax than the others. So like I said earlier, employers should review payroll structures and update HR systems before 2025 for this to be easy on them. So what are the key personal income tax reliefs? I think we've said this before. We mentioned that there will be some reliefs. I meant there was formerly something called CRA, Consolidated Relief Allowance. This has now been changed to rental relief. So you will have to be tendering your rent and proof of payment to your HR, which is going to increase the administration of your company. And the company is going to apply a 20% of your rent, or 500,000 per annum, the lower of those. So it's not a fixed flat rate of 500, but it is going to be applied on the basis of what is being paid in this order. So the lower of 20% of rent, or 500,000. Please do not make wrong claims, because every wrong claim would have its punitive measures. Other tax exempt are like the ones that are already in play now. We have the pension. So if you have a pension of 8% that you contribute and 10% by your employer, that is also tax deductible. If you have national housing fund, this has now become voluntary, especially for people in private employment. National health insurance scheme. If you have a HMO, obviously this is not deducted from your salary, but if you're paying your HMO privately, then you can present this and it'll be computed with your tax computation. For those who are in owner-occupied houses and are paying their mortgage, their interests on that is also a tax deductible. And if you have a life insurance premium, please present that to your HR so that these can all be used as a release. All of these were available before, but because of the new buzz, more people are becoming more inclined to get this information, so we're giving it as it is required. In terms of the VAT, the new reform and the effect of VAT on food, health, and education is now 0 rated. There's now exempt on transport and accommodation. Input VAT, the inputs that you suffer when you're purchasing, you make sure you have your books in order and you keep proper records so that this can be refunded by the government. And for those who are charging VAT on their clients, the difference between what you've been charged and what you're charging is also what is going to be paid or refunded, as the case may be. Please note that representation or misrepresentation of this is about 200% penalty. So please be very careful. Where unsure, reach out to people that can help, or even use the support of learned colleagues and professionals. The impact on this is that lower VAT essentially means that people have lower more VAT credits, which will reduce costs, and withholding can also be used to offset. So when you have VAT, you can claim. If you've also overpaid VAT, you can possibly use it to offset other taxes, such as maybe withholding or CIT. All of these can now be done in the new reform. Under companies' income taxes, companies are not exempt. Companies are also enjoying more relief. So if your company is over or under 100 million, and that is what a small company is now in Nigeria. The definition of a small company is a company that is 100 million or below, and they do not pay any taxes. That is, their taxes at 0%, so it's nil. This doesn't exempt you from your filings. So all your filings are still supposed to be happening. So your VAT filings should still happen. Your payee should still happen. So between 100 and 500, it's 20%. And over 500 million is now 25% and no longer 30%. And the incentives, as we said, for companies in agriculture, forestry, livestock, their first 5 years are tax-free. We know that charities and NGOs are also exempt from taxes as long as they stick to the cause of their charity and are not engaging in taxes or tax-able activities. We also know that military pay, this is under payee actually, is also tax exempt. Pension is tax exempt. Pioneer status has now been streamlined so that it is accessible once you meet the criteria. And so this is now available for everybody. And the good thing about this tax reform is it has increased people's curiosity about taxes and also increased the will for understanding and the tax knowledge. So tax harmonization and administration. The whole idea is now that there's a plan to unify all the taxes across the 36 states. So not only are all the taxes going to be unified, the tax administrators from NRS to the state's inland revenues to local revenues, everybody is working together under a unified system. There's a lot of talks about ID, tax ID, and all of that. If you have a company account and you're doing business with it, please make sure you have a tax ID. If you just have a normal account and you're not doing business, then this is not a conversation for you. So once you're registering a CAC and you need to open a bank account, you must have a tax ID to do business. If you're an individual or a sole proprietor or partnership, then you will have to have an ID which you get from your joint tax board. So business accounts, you require 10. Yes, we already said that. Individuals using business accounts would need their 10. And the good thing is the CAC is on the drive now where they're doing free registration for about 250 companies. So if you have any need to register your company, do it now. The whole idea of this harmonization is to make sure that each person is recognized as one taxpayer and there's one record and one system. So regardless of where I go in Nigeria, whether I'm in Kano or in Lagos, Abuja or in Port Harcourt, Benin, I will still be identified as the same person and my obligation will be unified and I'm able to be seen as one individual. So each company would be seen as one individual regardless of their location in Nigeria. People have obviously asked questions about those in the informal sector or those who are influencers or those who do remote work. These are still seen, or cryptocurrency. These are all seen as workers. As long as you are working and you work in Nigeria, you are eligible to pay tax in Nigeria. If you are working remotely and you're an influencer or you are working in an informal sector or you're dealing with cryptocurrency, all of these taxes we've discussed also apply to you. If you work in Nigeria and you work for a company outside Nigeria and you're earning dollars, you will be self-assessing yourself, and you would be asked to pay tax in Nigeria on behalf of yourself. So we're expecting you to have the honesty and transparency and to do it in the right way. Online income is also subjected to payee and self-assessment. And we have, where the disputes, the office of the ombuds to help with any form of resolution and fairness explanations. There's also the questions about having people who are working abroad, who are living in who work abroad and in Nigeria and working. I'm wondering whether there'll be double taxation because of their locations. We have treaties in Nigeria with a lot, but with Nigeria has treaties with a number of countries, about 12 of them, and more are even being looked into to have international support and agreements. So if you're able to prove that taxes have been paid completely in one region, you will get a credit relief in Nigeria or vice versa. So this is to prevent and also prevent double taxation and encourage compliance. So practical recommendations. If you're a business, please get a TIN, operate with your own corporate account. Make sure you update your payroll and your HR software to accommodate the new changes in the tax law. Keep detailed records. Your record keeping is going to be the make or break in this new administration, because it's evidence-based, it is documentation-driven, and we will be using these facts to determine where you fall. Use licensed consultants so that you're not given the wrong information. Make sure you remit your VAT and payroll promptly, and make sure you're not paying when you shouldn't be, which is why we're saying use licensed consultants and use all the incentives that are available to you and your sector. If you're an individual, we have asked that you ensure that you file your returns annually, that you're transparent so that you don't have any cause to pay penalties, and you stay informed, because ignorance is not bliss. So conclusion, the reform is trying to bring about fairness, simplicity, and accountability. It rewards honesty and supports SMEs. Non-compliance is going to be very, very expensive, but compliance will definitely have opportunities for growth for yourself and the economy. So we're employing people to unlearn, relearn, and engage. Wealth Accounting is here to help any of the people who need support and in terms of compliance and strategy with their company. And our concluding quote is, tax reform is not about paying more. It's about paying right, staying compliant, and building trust in the system that builds us all. That said, I would say thank you so much for your time. I'm sorry I have to rush through. I think about 5 minutes or 6 was gone in trying to reconnect, but I'm sure the question and answer time is going to be an opportunity to answer any questions or clarify any places I ran through. Once again, thank you so much for your time. I will pause now for any questions. Over to you, Mr. Precious.
Okay. I can see the round of applause for Madam, and then we sincerely also apologize for the technical glitches. But with time, our society will become better, and technical glitches will be a thing of the past. So we're trying to pull up some of the questions that the participants had already submitted through the survey. So we can start from there, pending when we have hands that are raised. Okay, there are hands that are raised. Okay, then just give me a moment. Oh, wow, I see a lot of hands. 1 second, let me allow you to unmute your mic. Okay, so we'll just take them in order of hands being raised. And so I see Lovett. Lovett, you can unmute and ask your question. So just introduce yourself. If you're a business owner, what's the name of your business? And then you can ask your question.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lovett. My name is Lovett Ojile. I'm an accountant working in a real estate and construction company. So my question is, please, what are the what's it called? What are the penalties for both personal income tax, company income tax, and failure to file your VAT on time? Thank you.
Are you planning not to file on time? I'm
Not
just
at all.
all right, madam.
Okay, so for thank you, Laura. That's an amazing question. For not filing, you have penalties, and the penalties would also have interest on them. So whether it's PAYE, whether it's CIT or VAT, all of them have the times that you're supposed to file and the amount you're supposed to file. So what the government does is they will file for you, or they will assess you and put a penalty on it as well as interest. So you are increasing your own exposure as a company, or your company's exposure unduly. And this may also have negative implication in terms of your brand and the company's name, because they can go as far as, stealing your company, putting a lien on your account, however significant it is. So my advice is compute your taxes and pay them on time. And if you're experiencing any form of issues, speak to a consultant.
Okay, before we go to the next question, maybe let me help Lovett a bit. She wants to know monetary figure. Let's say if you don't file as a personal income tax, you'll be charged maybe 5K,
Yes,
10K.
exactly.
Lovett, that's
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
okay. Madam, I don't know if you got that.
Hello.
Yes, so I think what Lovett is trying to find that is, for instance, if she doesn't file personal income task, she wants to know like an amount range that she will be liable for. So maybe a penalty of 5K, 10K if she doesn't file, or prison time of 2 years. Did you get me back? Oh, I guess she's frozen. So we just give her a bit of time to. So, but if she doesn't answer, love it, we'll still liaise with them after the session. We'll still send out a guide that will have some of those things. I think in that guide she can also address that question. So I see a lot of hands.
All right.
Just a
Thank you.
moment. Okay. So, but before she comes back on, I will take all the hands that I raised. Don't worry, I'll take them when she comes back on. But I just wanted to find out.
So
Can somebody just
for VAT, I believe it's 25,000 in the first month.
Yes,
What is most of
yes.
this amount now out of December? The rest for
We were off for some time though. Hello? You're muted in case you're speaking.
Hello.
Yes, you're back on now.
Right. I don't know what's happening. It's such a terrible day to be having this kind of issue. So, Lovett, to answer your question, I started to answer for CIT, it's 100,000 for the first month, and I think 50 subsequently. I believe it's about the same thing for VAT. I don't know that there is actually one for payee, but I know it can be up to 10% of what has not been paid, plus interest and taxes. So that is, I hope that is answering the question.
Okay, that's fair. So when you were off, I also mentioned that maybe after the session, we'll also work with your team to compile like a little pamphlet, that ebook that we can send out to all the participants as well that can fully now address some of those things. Nikki, I see your hand up.
Okay.
You can unmute and ask your question.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. So thank you very much for the session. So my question is, and while reading through the new tax law, it's stated there that companies should not transact with persons who don't have a valid thing. And then from what I know, usually when at the point of registering for your business, you are given a thing. And most persons don't go ahead to either register with any of the tax authorities. So they just take that as their thing. So my question is, for companies now, so as to avoid the penalty that they will be paying, do they need to check the validity of the thing, or probably once the vendor just have it and you just accept it, whether or not the person is registered with any of the tax authorities? Because from what I've seen, due to the nature of my job, most times whenever I see some things on the vendors' invoices, I go ahead to check on the FIRS portal to see if it's actually valid. And usually most of the time, so the response I get is, oh, that this thing is invalid, that they should register, that they should visit their tax office to register. So do companies still need to check the validity of the thing, or once the vendor present this the thing, that's enough? So whether or not it's valid is not the business of the company.
Okay. Okay.
So I think you've done. Sorry, Nick, if I understand your question right, your concern is to know whether to do business with someone whose TIN may not be valid or who may not have a TIN.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So thank you for that, Nick. So what I believe is, if you are given a TIN, you can use that and work with the people. LRS or FRS will do their due diligence to make sure they get the right person you're talking about, because as you have an obligation to file, they also have an obligation to file. So the TIN you give should give an information of who they are. And if they need more information, they can always reach out to you if they're unsure of who this person or taxpayer is, and they'll get enough information to. As long as you have something to hold on to, then I think you're fine.
Okay, so what you're saying now is that, okay, yeah, so what you're saying now is that we don't need to check if it's valid or not, that the onus lies on the person presenting the thing and not on the company, as long as we have something to show the tax authority, oh, that this is what the person presented. Is that correct?
Well summarized.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Gabriel, you're next. You can unmute and ask a question.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for this opportunity. My name is Gabriel.
Hi, Gabriel.
Glitch has happened to Gabriel.
Wow.
All right, Abib, we'll take you next.
It's not only me.
It's our country, on the provider.
Hello, good afternoon.
Is that Habib?
Yes, please.
All right, you can go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Thanks so much for the wonderful presentation, ma'am. I really appreciate. I have loads of questions, but I will, because of time and to ensure others have the opportunity to ask as well, I'll just keep some to myself. But the first question
let me cut you a bit.
Okay.
Did you fill the survey form?
No, I did not.
Okay, no problem. We'll drop it in the chat so that you can ask all the questions and they will be treated.
Okay. But the first question, because like I said, my name is Abib and I'm a business owner, and I do registration for people, business registration. And one of the biggest fear they have is, are we going to pay tax? So I have a lot of questions being asked, and I'm not a tax consultant, so I don't have the answer to those questions, but I'll be asking some. The first thing is that this tax law that is coming in effect in 2026, let's assume an individual has been running an unregistered business for the past 2 years, and they go ahead and register the business now, or January 2026. Does it mean that when they're ready to file their tax, the government go back to the previous years? Because I know that majority of us, except the indirect tax that we are paying. Almost everyone is not filing tax, except you're working for government or you're working with a company that is bound to actually remit your tax. So vast majority of Nigerians like me and others in the market that do not file tax before now, is it that the tax filing will start from a certain number of years when they start doing the tax filing? That is number one. Secondly is regarding tax relief. For an individual that owns a business that pays rent, because from what the presenter said, she said tax relief will be on rent, a certain percentage. Okay, for someone that is an individual paying house rent and at the same time paying rent for his space for business, is it how is that going to work? Is it that the person will have to leave both rent on PIT or the person will leave it on the business? That's number two. The third part of it is that I was going through the this gazette for the tax law, and in accordance with what our presenter said, that individual companies below 50 having below 50 million revenue are exempted. Now there is a part in that brochure that says excluding people that are offering professional service. So I'm kind of confused on what they mean by that. Is it that anyone into business like I do, maybe you offer the registration for someone, or you are a consultant, or you are this? Is it that has to do with certification or certain individual? That professional aspect of it is what I'm confused about.
All right, thank you, Abid.
Okay.
Madam, over to you.
Okay, Tabi, that's a really good question. The first one was about tax filing. You said you want to understand whether people who had filed taxes or who were just joining are able to forego the previous 2 years and file from when they start.
Yes.
In terms of when the business commenced, the business actually really commenced when they establish it. But in the spirit of fairness and openness, the abilities that that person may have done business with someone else who would have flagged them as a business in terms of maybe withholding deductions or otherwise. So in light of the law, it's called substance over form. You didn't actually start the business in the day you are registering it. You formalize it on that day. So I would, if there's opportunities for such a person, if the business is under 25 million, not to really have much of an exposure, but to put things in place to make sure they will not be in trouble or run foul of the law. So if it was me and it was my I was being asked this professionally, I would advise that they put their books in order, see where they fall, and do the needful, i.e., make some payments as it is necessary. But any business that is able to operate for 2 years and has not been under the tax radar, I believe they're usually going to be already zero exempt businesses. That's why they won't be an issue.
Okay.
So that's number one. Number two, tax relief, rent and corporate rent. As an individual, you're seen as a different tax entity from your company, especially if it's a limited liability company. So if you run a limited liability company or a company that is standalone, then that rent is going to be deducted from your accounts before you compute your company's income tax. So the company's rent is treated as the company's rent. Your particular rent is treated as your private rent. But if it's a situation where this is a partnership or sorry about that. If it's in a situation where this is for a sole proprietor, where you're filing annual returns and your returns are for the company, the law says the rent is 20% of your rent or 50,000 naira, whichever is lower. So even if you combine both rents and do 20%, you really can't go beyond 500,000, to be honest. So I hope that answers that question. And then finally, this 100 million exempt professional fee that you mentioned. I'm not aware of that. I'm also in the professional business, and I hope that it doesn't apply. I haven't seen it, but it's a clear law. Everybody operating in Nigeria under 100,000 from next year are exempt from law. Once you go to 101, you will pay taxes, and it is for everybody. The other side is if you're in agriculture, forestry, livestock, and things like that, and you start a business in the next 5 years, you do not pay any taxes. Theirs is even beyond 1 year or the 100,000. So I'm not aware of the professionals that you mentioned. I didn't see that, but if it's something you want to share with Mr. President,
Thank you, Ma. We'll go over to our DMA. You can unmute and ask a question.
Right. Good afternoon. Thank you, Ma, for the presentation. All right, and I just want to ask, I'm an accountant, but I just want to seek clarification on some things. So the first question is, we are aware of the old personal income tax law, which is currently running, and by 31st of December, it will cease to exist. For companies that have been paying pay, will be filing the company returns January, and individuals, they will be doing theirs at 31st of March. Will this new law, will it affect that, or are we going to still use the old law where we are filing in January and in March? Okay, so that is good. The same for company income tax also. For companies that have prepared their accounts up until 31st December, that means that the ACCA will still apply when they are filing as at 30th of June. Is that correct? Okay. Okay, so let me just okay, so let me move. I can continue. So the next question is bordering on the rent relief. So if you, I don't know whether any of the state internal revenue services or the Nigerian Revenue Service will be coming up with any further maybe pronouncements regarding this. So if a husband and a wife are both working, or one person is a business person and the other is working, and somebody has enjoyed the rent relief, does the rent relief apply to both of them or just one person? So that's the second question. So just more clarification on that area for the rent relief. Then the third,
being partners in the same business or for their own individual personal income.
They are working separately in different organizations, right? So, and they have husband works. Let's say, for example, the husband works in Shell, the other one, the wife works in, let's say, Cadbury. So, and both of them would have to submit to the HR the rent, their annual rents and every other supporting documents. So if you have enjoyed that rent relief, does it apply to one person or both of them? So that's that. Or if they are a business person, so if, for example, the wife is a business owner and she is registered as a business name, definitely she'll be assessed under presumptive tax. So how is she also going to enjoy that rent relief? So I think clarification in that area, I would love to have that clarification. Then for the final question, I think I wanted to ask around this threshold that everybody has been talking about, the 100 million threshold. So is it 100 or 150? I think we're coming from 25, 50, 100. So it has been confusing too. But so that threshold, is it every year or cumulative? So people need to know. So because I know in the Finance Act, it was cumulative and Madam said it, but I don't know if it's this new law they're now saying it is annually. Does it still continue annually or it is cumulative? So those are my questions. Thank you.
Hi, Adeyemi. Thank you so much for those questions. To be honest, I also had some of these concerns initially. Your first question was about the PITA. As you know, tax is paid in the year after, so preceding year basis. So if the taxes of, yes, exactly. So taxes of 2024 will be paid in 25 and 25 in 26. So in that vein, the law as at 2025 would apply to the payee when we're doing annual returns for in 2026 for 2025. We would be using the old law, and same for CIT. So companies that are doing the company's income tax in 2026 would still be assessed based on 2025's taxes, not the 2026 one. In terms of your rent question, the rent is in terms each person, however many people are in one house, will probably have one particular rent. So the law is hoping, and the government is hoping, that we will be honest citizens and file and recoup the payment that was made. So if my rent is 10 million naira per annum, the maximum I can claim on it is 500. If it's been paid by myself, I can't go and now give it to my husband to do same at his company so that he can also earn his 500. The only time we can split it will be based on the portion we were paying. Person should note that, and there would also need to be more disclosures with your HR, because before none of this was necessary. You now need to submit your rental agreement, your landlord's information, your proof of payment. All of this is going to be following through. So if you're giving all of this, then surely you can't really say you've paid more than you've paid or the same people have paid, because the person paying would have the money in their account. So that is that. So if your husband and wife are sharing it, then they probably will be recouping in the ratio that they shared to the maximum of 500,000. 100 million yearly is yearly. So if you make 80 million in 1 year, you don't pay any taxes. In the next year, if you make 90 million, you still don't pay any taxes. In the third year, if you make 100 million, you still don't pay any taxes. In the fourth year, if you make 100 million again, you still don't pay any taxes. When you make 100 million and 5 naira, you will pay taxes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, Vivian.
I don't know if Gabriel is back. We skipped Gabriel at some point. I know he had.
Yes, he's still on the queue.
Okay, okay.
He's on the queue, so we'll get back to him as well. I don't want to pronounce this surname, but Vivian, my local government is still worrying me, so let me not try and pronounce your. But if you can hear me, you can unmute and ask your question.
Good afternoon. This is
Good
Vivian.
afternoon. Oh,
my question is really simple. I just want to know if your organization has like a chartered accountant that I can meet with for some few hours, and then the person explains at a fee, definitely. The person explains my own industry. I'm in the film and TV. I'm a film and TV producer. So my industry is kind of peculiar. Explains all of these tax things and what I need to do to me.
Yeah, so that's exciting news for us. You are in the intellectual property kind of sector. Yes, we can speak with you and we can meet with you. And if you call, when you do call, I think there should be a link in the chat by one of our colleagues. If you do fill the link, you can refer to the promo code of tax 2021, which is 2025, sorry, tax 2025, which is available to anyone on this call, so you can access some form of discounts, because we are very happy for people to be informed and also make sure that they're on the right track. So please click the link and somebody would reach out to you and fill the form. Thank you, Vivian.
So just to buttress, is the last Google link that you see on the meeting chat. So I was trying to save this for the last, but you've let the cat out of the bag. Now
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. We should have planned better. I apologize.
No problem. So for everyone on the call, what we have done is that one thing is sure, no matter the level of explanation you get, and depending on your business, what you run, you actually still need to speak with somebody to say, oh, this is me. This is my business. This is how much my business is generating. I've not been keeping any records at all. How can I prepare all my records and get everything sorted? And as a result of that, we discussed with Where's Accounting, and they said, okay, no problem. For anyone attending this webinar, they are going to give you discounted rates on almost all of their services so that you can get all your house in order, your business in order before 2026 to be on the right track. So if you just go to the chart, the last link there, we'll still send it to your to the email of all registered participants anyway. So, but if you want to do that now so that you be first in line, you can quickly just go to the chat and get to fill your information. Because I know they will attend to first on the first come first serve basis, so you can do that. So while you're doing that, we'll take. Let me jump into the queue. Oh, Gabriel, your glitches should be solved.
Okay, yes, thank you. I think network happened the first time.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question is a bit technical, but I believe answers will come through for me. I'm an HR professional, and I'm in the process of setting up a consulting firm for myself to run with a couple of friends and partners in the same field. And one of the things I've been trying to get clarity on is the area of business registration now for what I intend to do. And I know a lot of people are talking about register as a business name, register as a limited liability company, and all that. But from the angle of taxation now, if I'm registered as a business name, I know by default I'll be paying tax because it's a business. But if I'm registered as a limited liability company and I don't do a turnover of 100 million and so, and I don't get to pay tax, in a situation whereby I pay myself salary every month, how am I going to be taxed? Am I going to be taxed on the personal side, or how is that going to happen? I just need clarity in that area as well. And also, what would you advise? Would you say I should register my business as a business name, or it would be preferable to register as an LLC? Because people are saying, oh, if you register as a business name, you still get to pay tax and all. Or if you register as an LLC, but you don't do a certain turnover for a year, you don't get to pay tax and all. You just need to file. So I would prefer. I would like to get your thoughts on this or your advice.
Okay, hi Gabriel. Lovely to hear from you. And so your question was amazing. We work with a lot of HR professionals ourselves, and even those who are not HR professionals seem to have the same questions you ask. There seems to be a blurry line between a company and the individual. So you can run a company and pay yourself salary, and those are different taxes, because as an individual, you are a tax person, and as a company, that is also a tax person in the eyes of the law. So when you make money and at the end of the year, you remove all your deductions and compute your books, salary is definitely allowed. And then at the end, you pay taxes on your profit, depending on the percentages you get to. So if you're under 100 million, you won't pay any taxes in terms of revenue, right? But if that doesn't stop you from paying your personal income tax, the relevant authorities. So those are totally different bodies. So I hope I've been able to clarify that. In terms of business registration, whether to go as business name or LTD, the thing about business name is seen as the individual. We don't, the law says business name, it's a bit in between. We don't really see it as separate, because the structures don't make it different from you. You set it up as a vehicle. It's usually like a sole proprietor kind of arrangement where you and the company are one and the same. So when you pay your taxes, it seems like the company's taxes has been sorted as well. In terms of structure, you don't have much incentives in the law in this particular niche that we're talking about now, because if you since you are paying payee, you fall under the payee. That's where you'll be put, and then maybe you don't have much VAT exposure, or even withholding or things like that. But in terms of looking into the future, or maybe investment readiness, or putting structures in, or getting yourself positioned for the next level, most people are going towards limited liability, and they have more incentives that are clearer. As a limited liability, you can do anything for as many years you want, and as long as you're under 100 million, you're not paying any taxes. Are you going to make any form of filings? Yes, you still do your filing. So it's better to be in a place where you know that you are definitely exempted and can function freely. And should you have more people wanting to invest in you, or even a bank wants to give you loans, some of these things kind of give you more credence as a company. So a lot of people are looking into LTD. And just a final remark, people feel like, oh, LTD will have tax, business would not, let me go for this one. But in the flip side, the LTD that does have taxes also has a lot of incentives built in it because it's structured. So there isn't anything you should be running from. You will pay taxes in both. In the end, it's just the type of taxes you pay. And for this one, it's even clearer to everybody what you should be paying, while the other is still under a lot of consideration and adjustments and reform, which is not very clear. So I can't really make up your mind, but with these few points of mine, I hope I've been able to convince you and make things a bit clearer.
Yes, thank you very much. I do appreciate that.
You've addressed it by answering this, which is the difference between business name and limited liability company. And so to everyone, maybe I should restate this. We'll send the recordings and this to you if you are registered. So don't send your email if you are registered, but you cannot register, send your email in the chat, and our team will take it up and we'll send to you at the end of the day. Next question, Alabi, you can unmute and ask your question.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Alabi Mike Dada, an accountant. I have 3 questions to quickly. Thanks for the presentation. It's quite encouraging. Now, the first question I have is on the salary. Now, whereby on the rent relief. Now, whereby an employer is living on the rent on his own apartment. It's a landlord on his own. They brought out a rent claim to the HR of the company. Does the new law allow the employer and the employee to claim that rent relief, knowing fully whether he has his own, is a landlord on his own, he has his own apartment? That is one. 2, the second question is on the pension. Now, in a situation whereby an employer pays both the employee and employer deduction, agrees to pay for the both, which we know that is 10% for the employer and 8% for the employee. Now, in this situation, does the new law allow the employer to pay for the both, and at what rate? Now, the third question is this. Now, I appreciate the effort and the lecture so far. It's a kind of request. I don't know, maybe the firm can bring out a template, an exact template on new salary payroll for the participants. So because some people are working in some organizations, the new template, because I know some organizations and some firm have been doing that. So that is the 3 question I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Alabi. So the first question is whether a landlord can claim rent relief.
Yes.
The landlord isn't paying rent anymore, so I don't know which rent is relief is going to be claiming. So I'm not sure that there's anything to claim in that agreement, because the landlord has already, moved to HNI level, if I can put it that way. So there's really nothing for the landlord to claim if no rent is paid. The second question about pension paid by the employer. If the pension is paid by the employer, it doesn't stop your ability to claim it as a relief. So you will still be able to claim it as a relief against your salaries. And then the final question was, can we share a new tax schedule? Of course we can. We can do that. We can work with Mr. Precious to make that available with our slides. And our slide actually also gives you a detailed breakdown of the old and the new. So even looking at that kind of gives you an idea of how to compute it. We made sure that it was easy and you're able to look at the calculations and work with it, comparing the last one and the new one. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Alabi. Thank you, madam. Nika, you're back. Or is this a different Nika?
No, still same one.
Okay.
Okay, so my
Carry on.
question is do employees who have payer IDs, do they still need to register for TIN, or their payer ID can also be used in place of the TIN?
Your payer ID is enough for you.
Enough.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, that was quick. Esther.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, everybody. So my question is, if a company's turnover was below the VAT threshold at the start of the year and did not charge VAT, but later exceeded the threshold at the mid-year and began to charge VAT, with FIRS require the company to remit VAT for the entire year? Then my second question is, as a new business owner, what is the proper way to handle this situation? Thank you.
Hello, Esther. This is so lovely to read from you and hear from you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I heard the voice and I had to look at the name to be sure it was who it was. Okay, so thanks for asking that question. That's an intelligent question. Most companies don't have this issue until they're growing, and when you're growing and you reach the threshold in the year, you start to charge at the point that you reach the threshold. At the point that you reach the threshold. And as a new business, as you're planning for the next year, you can begin to gauge how you are doing. So in this year, if you are falling short and you are on about 90% or 90 million, excuse me, by next year, you already are proposing to get bigger by maybe, 50%. So if you're hoping to go to 150 million revenue, then start building that into your planning so that you can charge VAT as when applicable.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. Lovely hearing from you.
You
All
too,
right,
ma'am.
Paul,
Thank you so
you're
much.
next in line. You can unmute and ask a question, Paul. For Steven. Hello, Paul. Are you still with us? Okay, your hands are raised. Is that accidental or you want to ask a question? Okay, Shadrach, you can unmute and ask your question.
All right, thank you again. I think my concern is about the practicalities of this tax regime or the new tax regime, because where many people will be having issue is how to define the income and how to define the inflow. Thank you for making the clarification about the business name on the LLC, the Limited Liability Company. Because definitely, if you are running the discover that you are paying like individual, so that's why I used to advise most of my clients and friends to just upgrade from BN to Limited Liability Company because of the incentives enjoyed by the company recently. Yes, to save them some kind of difficulties and all that. So in terms of I want to actually understand one thing about the issue of the paying the tax as at when due. Because ordinarily you have to make your what you call the tax return before you can declare what exactly you can enjoy or what to pay. I'm just sure it is automatic from your account where tax authority will just go to your account and look at what you have and begin to deduct payable tax and all that. For instance, if you are a contractor and you have been awarded a contract of 100 million, so they're not going to a kind of tax on 100 million or 500 million. They're going to look at what you get, the income from that 100 million. But if your income is lower compared to what's lower, it's not up to the threshold, you won't pay any tax. So a lot of people are having that kind of confusion that maybe if I just give them 100 million naira in their account, so they have to pay tax and all that. So she make that one very clear to to the public and know exactly what you should pay when it is time for us to know that you just come to your account and just remove their tax or pay good tax and all that. You made mention in your presentation, you made mention of view of 250,000 free registration for companies. I think it's the policy is by Smenda, if I'm not mistaken. it's actually meant for small business owners or what have you. I'm not sure if I came to a limited liability company. So I think we need a little clarification on that so that people will not be shopping to see that we had on the platform that we are to come and register free, free companies in TAC before we have any issue with them. So I just want you to actually clarify that aspect, issue of income and inflow and your income and how the tax should be paid and other technicalities that involved in managing the tax regime as we proceed further. Thank you.
Mr. Shedrack, in terms of the income, your income is what comes for the company as revenue, not what goes into the bank. Anything can go into your bank, but what is your revenue is what comes to you as a business. So if you make money in the course of business and the total of it is 100 million or less, you don't pay taxes. If you pay money into your business or somebody pays money to your business to pay for something else that is not yours, then you can't count that as your revenue. Case in point, real estate. If I'm into real estate and I help people let their business, the flats, and they pay to me and I give the landlord the money, the rent isn't my money. So that can be calculated or concluded to be my revenue. So even the LIRS knows this. But what they're asking is for more disclosure, because sometimes those monies actually belong to you as income, but in order to not say it, you call it other names. So if you're trying to prove that monies that come into your account are not all yours, you also need to be able to back it up with support documents. So if I'm in the example I stated before, if I am the person letting on behalf of a landlord, I'll be able to show the agreement to them. And they can now go and meet the landlord as well for his own tax situation. But I've cleared myself. What came in is this, and what is my own is this, because I've collected this from the landlord, paid this to the landlord. The net difference is mine. So that is what we mean by revenue, your income, not what is just sitting in your account. And then in terms of the CAC that I mentioned, I assumed a lot of us were small businesses that I think that we are. So CAC is doing registration with a company called Smedan, SME support, and they are registering 250. So that information is correct, and they're registering companies for 250. We also have the link for that if you're interested. Thank you. I think we can take 3 more questions and call it a wrap. Do we still have some people? And on the screen displayed, we have some of our details. We have our social media links, our website link for information. So feel free to stop by and see.
Good afternoon, ma. Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Oh, thanks so much for this wonderful section. It's been so explicit, but I still want to get 1 or 2 things about this new pension act that will be starting next year, January. Please, I want to know, okay, when we talk about the pension act, you can on your own calculate, this is what I'm due to pay, this is what the employer will pay me, this is what as an employee would be deducted from my salary. I want it to be relatable. How can me on my own calculate my tax based on the new pension act that will come up next year? I don't know if I'm clear.
Yes, that's very clear. And that's similar to Mr. Paul's question. Is it Mr. Paul? I think it was Mr. Alabi. Someone had asked the same question. We have already provided a template in this. We have provided a template already. So once they
I wanted to.
We have provided a template already, so please, once we share that, you can see how to calculate it yourself. It's part of the slide.
Good afternoon.
Okay.
Oh, hello.
Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon.
Please, let's allow me moderate, please. Hello, Bedaya.
Yes.
Allow me moderate, please, so that it's not rowdy. Yeah, so we're just going to take 2 questions, and from the queue I see we have Toke and Steven. But for the rest of us that have questions, like I said earlier, my colleague will drop the link to the survey form. You can ask all the questions and we would revert, we'll work with Where's Accounting to revert with answers as much as possible to clarify areas where you have concerns with. So let's follow that process, please. So I'll pass the mic to Toke. You can unmute and ask your question. So, but watch out in the chat. The link for the will be there. All right, go ahead. Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My question is in regards to a limited liability company. I know that even if you're not paying taxes, but we still need to file like annual returns every year. So these annual returns, does it require an auditor to do this, or just the company can submit the statements? Then my second question is, since we'll be filing for 2025 and 2026, does this apply to all the taxes or just the annual ones? I mean, for VAT, are we filing for VAT in the previous year or in 2026? I hope my question is clear.
Okay, so your first question was in terms of annual returns. If you're happy and understand what is required, by all means, you can do it yourself. But any errors or any misstatements or omissions would not be borne by you, but the tax will put it on the company. Usually people go for professionals to make sure that they are working above board. If you have a client, a company or a staff that knows what they're doing in this in area, then by all means you can do it internally. And then the bit about the VAT is paid monthly, so you pay VAT on the 21st of every month for the month before, and it will continue the same way in the years to come.
I thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. I know that there are still a lot of questions that a lot of people want to be addressed. I can see the queue is even building up the more. But I also want us to be responsible and also keep to time so that we don't stretch the day. But I'll just say once again, the link to the questionnaire is on the chat. Just type all your questions there. We'll work with Where's Accounting to see that we answer as much of them as we can as possible and share with all participants, including the slides and the recorded session of this webinar. So we'll do that, but I really want to appeal to us that we would have to try and wrap up here. It's been both insightful and also leave room for questions, because you cannot finish all the questions around tax in one day. For those that are really interested and say, oh, we want to work with Where's Accounting to do our bookkeeping, our accounting, prepare our tax audit and all those other things, the link for that is in the chat as well. You can click on it and fill. Don't forget to use the code tax 2025 so that they know that you are coming from this webinar, and then they can give you the discount that is due to you. Is it due? Let's say due to you. So one other thing I want us to do as we're wrapping up. Yeah, Paul, Stephen, for large minds, I know you are eager to ask questions. Obadiah, God's own computer. Thank you guys so much. Maybe another time we can walk around with Where's Accounting. Maybe we'll have a part 2 of this session, if depending on the arrangements. We can just have that session for just question and answers, if that would work. But that will not be today. It will be at another time. And because you are registered, we have your emails, we have your phone numbers. We can always reach out to you when we set that up, and we can have that session if time and God permits. All right, in wrapping up, there's a culture we have to evaluate the session that we've had, tell us what we did better, what we didn't do better, topics you are interested in learning about. So that feedback helps us to improve these sessions, because we have a whole lot of sessions lined up. Last month, we talked about human resource, how to choose the right team members, especially for small business. When you are starting out, working with people can be a little bit stressful. You are the only employee. How do you hire your first staff? how do you set up your HRO system. We had certified professionals who took us through those sessions. The recordings of them are available. If you're interested, you can always chat us up and we can send them over to you as well. Next year, we're already from January 23rd, I believe, that fourth Friday of January, we already have another session lined up where we're going to be talking about marketing. How do you craft your message so that it resonates with your customers so that they come and buy from you? Because the goal is for businesses to grow. And one quick way for businesses to grow is when you can drive your sales and marketing. And that session is already lined up for January 23rd. We'll send relevant communications to you. Thank you so much for your time. Once again, my name is Focados Precious. I'm the managing partner at Distraction. But before we all go, if we can unmute our mics, I want us to say thank you to Madam. Just say thank you. Just unmute and say thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. It's
Thanks
been
so
very
much,
insightful.
man.
May God bless you.
Thank you, madam.
More grace, more
Thank
money
you.
to your pocket.
Thank you, madam, for this session. Very enlightening.
Thank you, madam. It was very
Thank you, madam.
Wonderful
Thank
session.
you,
Thank you,
madam.
madam.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Really
for the time.
Thank you,
All right,
everyone.
all right. I think with this, we'll call the task webinar 2025 a wrap. And all of that communications, the recordings, the videos, the
Thank you
slides,
very much, man. Thank you very much, man.
will be sent across via email. Thank you so much, everyone. I really enjoyed myself. You have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Oh boy.